the viral thing that everybody, like, the reason why I feel like everybody just keeps acting like it's such a big deal, and it's like they just want to talk about it, is that you have a history of being on camera for other reasons.
Yes, I started out on mainstream, and probably the thing that I am most remembered by and most the folklore has happened because I was on Boy Meets World.
Because there's a lot of different levels of fame, and I feel like children's TV, like if you can be on like a really important show that is aimed at kids, that just gives you this like level of fame, because kids just watch the same shit over and over and over, that anyone who's on those shows from that era of our life is just like so ingrained,
especially because it was limited what there was available for us to watch, so those shows were all so much bigger. I mean, Boy Meets World was like one of the biggest things in my childhood. So when I saw you on the scene, I was like, holy fucking shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting because we had a whole group of viewers who were watching it when it came out, of course. But then it was on the Disney Channel for years too. Yeah. And so we'd get new viewers, and I'd have, young people come up to me and say, oh, I love the show. Like, what's going to happen next? I'm like, I haven't filmed it for several years now. And like, oh my God. But it has whole generations of viewers. And it's funny, at the time, when we were filming, we didn't realize it was that popular. I mean, we knew it was doing well, and we were on for a long time, and they had been on years before I came in.
But there's other more popular shows, you're not like, you're probably thinking that this is just kind of normal in a way, because you're not realizing that every episode you film is going to get replayed a million times, many millions of times after.
Yeah, and also we didn't have the internet to the degree it is now, of course, and so there wasn't like Twitter to see like what everybody was thinking, what the reaction was, or how many fans or how many followers you had, or whatever.
The TV network would just have to tell you.
Yeah,
right?
and they really didn't. And they have ratings and stuff.
And maybe like, you go to Denny's and like people ask you for an autograph, but it's still like, okay, that was like a couple people,
Yeah,
it's
right.
It's hard for you to imagine.
It's hard to imagine.
It's not like now where it's like, oh, I have 1 million followers. A million people.
It's kind of documented.
Know who I am. We have like, it's easy to like rate fame now.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because back then we had like the magazines, I guess, the Teen Beats.
Yeah.
Did they start putting you in those?
They had a lot of stuff like that. Like, yeah, and I especially, I was on a soap opera before that too, so that I had a lot of that teen kind of stuff.
Who was Corey's friend though? Sean?
Yeah, Sean.
He was the hottie.
He was,
my crush.
I mean, he just was like a
yes,
like,
he was.
For me, as like an ugly young boy, not particularly good looking, I was looking at him like, what the fuck? That's like JTT. Like, you were looking at all those dudes like,
You're like literally naming all the posters on my wall as a kid.
Those were himbos to us. Like, they're just gonna be able to float through life.
What's a himbo?
Yeah,
it's like a bimbo, but it's a dude.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was like, this is something
no, if you're born a himbo, then you get to float through life, and you never have to create any meaningful value.
I love this new word I've learned today. Himbo. This is amazing. I've never heard before.
He's really smart, though. He's really smart in real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then that's the.
It's a double,
perfect combo.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be a famous himbo. You can just be a himbo. Anyway,
in general, yeah.
So how many years exactly were you on that?
I was on the last 2 seasons. It's funny. But yeah, they grew up on the show. So it's actually, I was the college years when they went to college. So people are like, oh, you were a kid on the show. And I was like, well, no, I was the college years, I guess. So I was supposed to be, I was about 19 or something.
So what did you do after that? How many years after that did it take for you to get into porn?
Oh, many years. Decades would be the question.
The real way to ask.
But I have to say, like, after that, I did pilots. I worked on stuff. I did White Chicks, the movie, and then I kind of hit a wall because Hollywood would not let me do the kind of things that I wanted to do, and I wanted to play more daring roles or like more.
What were you getting cast as?
Just like the sweet, funny girl next door kind of cast, and like always like the sitcom goody kind of girl.
And as an actor, you're really not allowed any sort of like ownership over your own artistry, really, right? Like you pretty much just have to do whatever you can get.
Yeah,
and you're supposed to be happy about it.
Right, and especially back then, and it was a very different world in like the 2000s when actresses like we were expected to be very cute and sexy, but very virginal and very, you had to fit into this type of role that people cast you in, whatever it was. I know that's the whole time about when Britney was coming up and all of the, just all of those girls back then, Jessica Simpson, like it was a very strange time for actresses and models and singers and stuff. to be a public persona. But yeah, over the years, I went on my own authentic journey, and it took many, many years to get to the place like where I am now. But people say, wow, you just all of a sudden went to porn. And I'm like, no, I didn't all of a sudden go to porn. I did a lot of other things in between. Part of it was like, I love erotic writing, and I started getting into that. And then I got married and moved to New York, and I explored a lot of like, I would say my fantasies on paper and stuff, just to, see what I don't know. I was just discovering my own sexuality and stuff. And then I eventually came back to LA. And then the whole thing that really set off my social media presence was Girl Meets World, the spinoff of Boy Meets World, that came back on the Disney Channel. But there was such a renewed interest in the show and in Boy Meets World cast members and everything. So I was just kind of kicking on Instagram a little bit at the time. And then I started posting like stuff that I wanted to do, and like a lot of producers and publicists and stuff were like, no, you got to be the girl you were on Boy Meets World, so you can get back on Girl Meets World and do all that and be this, but I was like, I don't want to live in my past all the time anymore. I mean, it was a great experience, but it's kind of like if you went to high school and you had a great time in high school, but you want to live in high school for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, that's
so
true.
I started doing my own things, like doing cosplay, because I was really into cosplay, and I still am. But I started posting sexier pictures just because I just love to do that. And my fans responded, and I really started like getting fans not only from my past on Boy Meets World and the show and everything, but also new fans that were interested in like my other avenues of my talents. But it also created a controversy with Girl Meets World and everything. So, and with people at Boy Meets World, not the cast necessarily, but
what was the controversy?
Disney and the producers, especially like the executive producer, I wasn't even doing porn at the time. I was just doing sexier kind of pictures and cosplay.
But
and like,
had you already done porn?
No.
No, okay.
No, not at this point. I had done provocative stuff. I think the closest thing that at that time I had done to porn, for like porn wise, was I did an international Kiss a Ginger Day photo shoot, like a little setup gimmick kind of thing. And I got Elle Alexandra, who was a lesbian porn star at the time. And we were just going to do a little slumber party kiss. And we did do that, but we ended up getting completely naked and posing for super erotic photos. And at the end of it, she was like, you're going to do something in porn. And I was like, oh, no, that was just fun for me or whatever. Well, and then about 5 years later, I did. So it took like that lengthy journey. But I was doing setups like that were sexy. I was getting known in like a lot of the press and the booby blogs at the time, and like a lot of British press and stuff. So I was getting a lot of attention from my cosplay and just from my crazy setups that I did. And yeah, Disney and all of them did not.
How did they react though? Did they actually do anything?
No, they couldn't really do anything. I wasn't working for them at the time, but I know the executive producer, he did not want me to be part of Girl Meets World at all. And I wasn't really loving Girl Meets World, what I saw of it. So I wasn't really like aching to be on it, but at the same time, they had every single person who had been in the cast back on Girl Meets World except for me.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty glaring. And they even took a big photo at the end, like they did with the last episode when it was canceled, and or one of the last episodes, I can't remember exactly, and they had everybody in it. Even the two Morgans.
Oh my God.
You remember the little girl?
Yes, the sister.
The one girl, and then she left.
Corporate
and then
world does not fuck with